On June 2nd, the Duggar documentary will be released from Amazon Prime. We will be hearing from Jill Duggar Dillard.
Thank you for agreeing to talk to us.
There's a story that's going to be told, and I would rather be the one telling it.
Instagram, Facebook influencer, and writer Tia Levings, who I absolutely love.
The shiny, happy images is the sugar, and we're all high on it.
The Holt family.
Oh, how deep do we go? Because that's a rabbit hole, man.
And Jen from Fundy Fridays. Until then, I'm reviewing some awfully cringe-worthy scenes we all have to take a look back on quite differently than we did 10 plus years ago. Tonight, we're going to take a look at clips revolving around Josh Duggar's proposal to Anna Keller. So here we go, down the rabbit hole, friends. Have you ever visited south of the border? It's an almost abandoned theme park that captivates my mind every time we travel down south to visit family in Savannah. We do it at least a couple of times a year when we lived in the US. I always stop with my kids at south of the border. Okay, here's the deal. It looks closed from the street, even boarded up, but the trick is that it's not really closed. Much to my delight, there are still several areas that are open, including the public restrooms. Guys, you have to pay $0.25 for toilet paper there. And most importantly, Reptile Lagoon is open. Have you ever eaten crocodile? My husband's family practically lives on it, and it tastes like chicken. But I also love seeing so many gator houses whenever we go visit Savannah and travel down around in Florida and Georgia. And I have a special favorite song. It's called Snake Farm. It goes like this. Snake Farm just sounds nasty. Snake Farm, it pretty much is. Snake Farm, it's a reptile house. Look up the song. It is so good. So how does this relate to Anna and Josh? Well, the only thing I like at all about Josh's proposal to Anna is that it takes place in a gator restaurant. And I've been to this one before, and I often think, could little Anna Keller have been sitting behind me all those years ago when I was eating gator down in Florida? As the story goes, Josh Duggar met Anna Keller in 2006 at a homeschooling conference sponsored by the IBLP. Now, we know that Josh had at least one failed courtship prior to Anna. It was a dating relationship his parents recently admitted to during his CSAM trial. It happened with the daughter of a family friend, Kaylee Holt. But all of that is for another video. Things obviously never worked out with Kaylee, and now Jim Bob needed to help Josh find the right person to handle his growing desires to get into an intimate relationship, if you know what I mean. No doubt, Jim Bob believed getting Josh married would finally solve all of the inappropriateness they'd been dealing with at home for years now. So, the Duggars and Kellers have continued to insist that Josh and Anna courted between 2006 to 2008 when they finally got married. But most 19 Kids and Counting fans have come to doubt this information. Family insiders have spoken out to media outlets, and they state that Anna and Josh's relationship was really just created and brokered by their fathers. Regardless of how it happened, Josh proposed to Anna on her 20th birthday at a gator restaurant. Josh decides to surprise Anna by driving down to Florida on her 20th birthday and showing up at her special birthday dinner with her parents at Gator Landing.
I met the waitstaff and I was like, hey guys, can we set this up? They're like, yeah, so we set it up outside, we got it all set up and ready, and then he comes out, he's like, hey, I just saw on the radar, we got like a storm gonna be here in like 20 minutes.
For the rest of 19 Kids and Counting on, Josh will never stop talking about how he had an amazing proposal planned for Anna, and it was totally ruined by a big storm that happened outside the restaurant. He was going to propose to her outside. It was going to be brilliant and beautiful, and the proposal to end all proposals. But every time another one of his sisters gets married, he brings up the fact that his proposal would have been better if not for the horrible storm that God probably sent to warn Anna. As we move on in future videos, looking at clips from 19 Kids and Counting, we'll soon discover that Josh has a lot of weird jealousies and insecurities about his sisters. He always thinks they're getting something more than he is from his parents. It's another example of Josh's extreme immaturity and the sad way in which, still as an adult, he believes the world completely revolves around him. Okay, back to the proposal.
And so I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be horrible. So I was like, oh no, I guess we can move it inside. And so we did.
Do you see? The gator is wearing a top hat. That's why it was better to do it inside anyway. You're surrounded by gators wearing top hats.
I really wanted to make sure I could capture this on tape because it's really special and I have family at home that really want to see it. So we tried to get cameras set up and get it where we can document this because it's a monumental event.
Right, and they also need to record it because they're getting paid to make like a reality show about their lives.
We were planning on going to Arkansas, and Josh was, he couldn't wait an extra few days, I guess he's so...
As we talked about in our prior video, of course Josh is really excited. He's been waiting for years to finally be in the clear, to be intimate with the girl in his life. So waiting an additional 2 or 3 extra days is just out of the question at this point.
He got here and was freaking out. I don't know where I'm going to hide. Do I come up behind her? Am I going to walk out? I don't want her parents to see me.
Am I the only one who wonders what happened to this waitress? Like, does she know what's happened to Josh Duggar since she first filmed this? Does she ever think about it? Is it weird for her that she served them on the date of their proposal and helped Josh set the whole thing up from the first place? Does she regret her role in these shenanigans? Elizabeth, call me, please, girl.
First.
And so I quickly scuffled around and hid, and then they got seated and we're looking at the menu. And
I think they were ordering Gator. Do you think they were ordering Gator?
That's when I walked around the corner. Happy birthday, Anna.
Wow. Is Anna okay here? Physically okay? I've never seen anyone be so surprised that they literally look like they can't breathe. Part of me wonders if it's this is the first time she's ever even seen him or met him in real life. I can't help but feel that way. She's like, what? Who are you? Surprised because I've never even seen you before.
Are you surprised?
She had no idea whatsoever. She was totally surprised. Absolutely floored. God did a miracle.
Usually she's not so speechless.
I don't want to be picky, but I am not impressed with Josh's suit here.
When I looked up, I was just like,
whoa. It's like popped in my head.
Anna looks so young, innocent, sheltered, and really blown out of the water in this scene.
it took a few seconds to realize it really was Joshua. My parents went to go look around at the restaurant.
Oh, you stay here. You talk. Yeah, you'll be okay. We'll be right.
So I'm pretty sure this is the first time ever Josh and Anna have been left alone. And they're being left alone with gator meat.
And then Joshua got up.
So.
Wow. That countdown was off.
Wow, so uncomfortable and awkward. They certainly look like two very young kids on their first date, not two adults who have just gotten engaged. It's hard because they're not really allowed to touch each other, so they can't give any physical affection or even hugs.
Yeah, so I have another question for you. Yeah? Come here.
I'm kind of surprised the way we finally see Josh like a little bit nervous here. I'm surprised by that because, as we've talked about before, he always puts on this facade with an inability to really connect to other people. But I do feel in this scene that he's worried about how this is going to go down. Even though he's the prince of the IBLP, he wants to make sure he gets this whole scene right. He knows the cameras are on him.
Oh. You gotta take that one off. Yeah. Anna, will you marry me?
Yes.
Many people have already dissected this scene on YouTube, and body language experts have specifically stated that they see a lot of fear and discomfort with Anna's movements in the scene. They've also stated that Anna appears to look very questioningly towards her parent during the initial part of the interaction, clearly waiting for indications from them about what she should and shouldn't do. When they leave her alone with Josh, that's her indication that this is likely going to be the proposal. I mean, they've never been left alone before, so something special must really be happening here. And she must realize that her parents want her to say yes, because otherwise they would never have left her alone with him.
I don't think I really had to fight myself off to keep from kissing her, but I love her that much, and I really did want to. And so the best restraint that I could give was just hugging her and giving her a hug. I mean, that was the best form of, I guess, romance that I could think of at that time.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with trying to save yourself for marriage. I mean, it's unusual in this day and age to really be successful in that pursuit. But at the same time, I do think it's really sad that the kids who grew up in this family had to restrain themselves so much as to not be able to give any physical affection to their significant other before they decide to get married, and then even once they're engaged. The Duggars have since stated that they allow the kids to come up with their own courtship rules. Now, I do think that might be the case more recently, but I don't believe that was true for Josh, and there were several reasons for that. For one, he was the firstborn, and they were on TV trying to put out a certain image and reflect well on the IBLP, and this was their first chance to show the kind of courtship that the IBLP wanted them to display for the world to see. So I'm sure they had very strict ideas about how Josh should go about doing this courting. And then, of course, the Duggars and even the Kellers had to be aware of the fact that Josh had been very inappropriate with young girls in the past, so they were also trying to keep him on a very short leash when it came to his interactions with Anna.
So I was like, oh boy. And he proposed and I said yes. I love you.
It's just like you get that gut feeling. It's like you feel like, wow.
We just love them for what they are, not because they're on TV.
I love you very much.
People are trying to eat.
Okay, since Josh's trial, people from the Duggar community have come forward to speak about their experiences through social media, and many people have stated that it was odd when Josh got engaged to Anna because Anna's family was pretty unknown in the IBLP world. Meanwhile, the Duggars were part of IBLP royalty. They ran in circles with families like the Holt and the Wismans, who were very well known and respected. People thought that the firstborn son of Jim Bob Duggar would obviously marry into one of the other royal families. But those who were in the know were aware that Josh wasn't a hot commodity because within the small circle of homeschooling IBLP families in Arkansas and in the surrounding areas, people were aware that Josh had failed a courtship with the Holt's daughter, Kaylee Holt. And some were even aware of what happened with him and his sisters only a few years prior. Now, even though the IBLP preaches forgiveness for acts such as what Josh had committed in the past, I don't think many families were quick to think about marrying off their daughters to him. They may have been willing to wait for another Duggar child, one of the younger boys, to get older and be ready for a proposal of their own. We've seen that now, the way that recently Hannah Wisman was married off to a Duggar boy. But the general consensus was that people were weary of Josh. Now, with the Kellers, they were living down south in Florida, and like I stated before, they didn't have much money. It was difficult for them to do things like send their daughters to the conferences. Pa Keller was working in prison ministry, and people have speculated that Jim Bob essentially bought Anna from that family in certain ways. I think it's more along the lines of the Kellers realized that the Duggars could provide a hopefully stable future for one of their daughters. And even if they were informed about what happened in Josh's past, the doctrine they professed to live by taught them repeatedly about forgiveness. And this was a big part of what Mr. Keller preached himself when working in the prison system. It's clear that this was a perfect match for Josh. The Duggars would provide Anna with stability and continue her lifestyle within the IBLP church. People have said that the Duggars even donated to the Kellers' prison ministry and continue to help keep them afloat for a period of time. So what do you guys think about the scenes from Anna's proposal? Please leave me some comments below. I will feature them in an upcoming video. And what do you think about the Gator restaurant? Please take a moment to look up Snake Farm. It's an amazing song. I hope to see you guys again tomorrow as I head down another rabbit hole.